Absolutely. И expand part одну into a deeply engaging, emotional narrative of around 1500 words, keeping the suspense and connection strong. Here's the extended version. She didn't say a word. Not a single argument, not a single protest. She just quietly gathered her thanks. I watched her from the door, the way her hands moved deliberately, folding each shirt, carefully tucking raw items into her Arnaud suitcase. The air between us was heavy, thick with the weight of unspoken words. My husband, who sat sprawled on the sofa, laughed aloud. See? She can't even argue, he said, shaking his head, as if her silence was proof of some kind of failure. I stayed silent, but inside my mind was racing. How could laughter follow such a moment? How could he find amusement in what should have been a turning point, a confrontation that carried the weight of months, maybe years, of tension? She was living not because of a whim, not because of fear, but because she had reached the end of patience, and the quiet that followed her decision was louder than any shouting could have been. She moved like a shadow, careful not to disturb the fragile tension lingering in the apartment. Her coat hung loosely on her shoulders, slightly frayed at the edges, evidence of countless winters she had endured silently, waiting for this moment. She had packed lightly just the essentials, but each item held stories, memories, fragments of her life interwoven with ours. Every shirt, every book, every photograph she carefully tucked through whispered a message I wasn't sure I wanted to hear, that she had lived here, existed here, yet remained unseen. My husband's laughter echoed again, a harsh sound that grated against my nerves. Honestly, I don't know which we even fight, he said, reaching for the remote and flipping channels as if her departure was nothing more than a minor inconvenience. I couldn't speak. My throat felt tight, like the words would shatter before they could escape. I wanted to tell him that her silence, assumed weakness, was strength. That her calm, measured departure carried more power than each Karel's laughter ever could. She paused at the door, hands resting briefly on the frame as if to steady herself. For a moment, I thought she might turn, might face us both, and unleash everything bottled up inside the heart, the anger, the years of compromise that had led to this single quiet act. But she didn't. She looked straight ahead, eyes fixed on some point beyond the apartment, beyond the immediate space of confrontation. Her lips pressed together, not in fear, but in resolve. She wasn't leaving to surrender. She was leaving to reclaim herself. The suitcase clicked shut, a sound that resonated like a closing chapter in a book I had long avoided reading. She bent slightly, lifting the weight with a grace that belied the emotion swirling beneath her calm exterior. Every movement was precise, intentional. She didn't stumble, didn't falter. She simply existed in that moment of transition, and yet, in that stillness, the apartment seemed to shrink, there heavy with the absence she was about to create. I wanted to reach out. I wanted to stop her. But I couldn't. My body froze, a statue of indecision, while my heart pounded violently against my chest. It isn't just her living, it was the acknowledgement of everything we had ignored, everything we had dismissed. The little arguments, the silent resentments, the nights filled with words we were too tired to say. All of it culminated here, in this silent picking, in this quiet hit that spoke louder than any shouting match ever could. She placed the suitcase by the door, her movements still steady, unflinching. I noticed the faint tremor in her hands, almost imperceptibly, but it was the required ripple of human emotion beneath her composed exterior. I realized then that her silence was not empty. It was deepened. It was reflection. It was the kind of strength that doesn't scream for attention but carries the weight of the word quietly, steadily. My husband leaned back, oblivious to the intensity of the moment. Guest had city, he said with a smirk, picking up his phone as if she had merely stepped out for a short errand. I wanted to scream. I wanted to shake him awake to the reality of what was happening. But instead, I watched helpers as the apartment transformed from a place of shared life into a space echoing with evanescence. She bent to pick up her keys, a final act that signaled the definitive nature of her decision. I noticed the way her fingers lingered for a moment on the keychain, an object that had unlocked more than just doors. It had been a symbol of trust, of intimacy, of a life intertwined with ours. And now, as she lifted it, I felt the weight of every missed moment, every unspoken word, every small kindness taken for granted. The door opened quietly. She paused again, shoulders squared, eyes forward, and stepped into the hallway. For a fleeting second, I thought I would hear the click of heels, the shuffle of hurried steps down the corridor, but there was nothing. Only the soft whisper of air as she left, leaving behind the scent of her perfume, faint but lingering, a reminder of her presence that would haunt the apartment long after she was gone. I turned to my husband, expecting some recognition of what he'd just transpired. But he was absorbed in each screen, scrolling aimlessly, oblivious. The contrast between her deliberate silence and each Carell's laughter struck me with a sudden, sharp clarity. Her silence had been her voice, louder and more eloquent than any argument we had ever had. And we had ignored it. The apartment felt suddenly too large, too empty. Every corner seemed to echo with Mamol's laughter in the kitchen, the way she hummed softly when washing dishes, the quiet companionship that had been there, unnoticed, beneath the surface of our daily lives. Now, in her absence, those echoes sounded like warnings, like reminders of the consequences of neglect, of interference. I sank into the armchair, feeling the weight of the silence pressing down on me. I couldn't see Roy, couldn't speak, couldn't move. All I could do was watch the empty doorway, imagining her figure disappearing around the corner, carried through by her own quiet dignity. The irony was cruel. She had left to it or to fight, and yet, somehow, she had already won. Hours passed, though I couldn't tell how many. The apartment remained quiet, the kind of quiet that fills every crack, every corner, every unspoken thought. And I realized that her departure was not just physical, it was emotional, spiritual, a reclaiming of self that left us behind. And my husband eventually fell silent too, sensing, perhaps subconsciously, that laughter was no longer appropriate, that the gravity of her choice had finally settled over us. I thought about the months we had spent together, the subtle ways in which we had failed to notice her, the casual dismissals, the small cruelties hidden behind humor. And now, her silence shouted all of it back at us, more powerfully than any argument could have. She had left, but in leaving, she had given us a gift we were too blind to appreciate, the mirror of our own feelings, reflected in the absence of someone who mattered more than we realized. I stared at the empty doorway for hours, replaying every small interaction, every overlooked moment, every lie too harsh, every word too sharp. I wanted to call out to her, to beg her to stay, to tell her that we understood now, but the words caught in my throat. She had already made her choice. She had already demonstrated that string did not always need noise, that power could be wielded in quiet dignity, and that sometimes the loudest voice is no voice at all. By the time night fell, the apartment had transformed into a place of reflection, of reckoning. The shadows cast by the dim lights felt longer, heavier, as if holding on to the lessons her silence had left behind. My husband finally set his phone aside, but the usual smirk was gone, replaced by something closer to unease. I knew he felt it the weight of her departure, the echo of every ignored feeling, every dismissed thought. But neither of us could yet put it into words. I stayed awake long after he had drifted into restless sleep. I replayed the scene in my mind, her quiet movements, her deliberaticum, the way she had left to it or to fight but with unmistakable purpose. I realized that sometimes, living is not a failure, but an act of bravery. That sometimes, silence is the language of strength. And that sometimes, the absence of a person can teach more than their presence ever could. By the early hours of morning, I understood something I had before. She wasn't gone because she was weak. She was gone because she was strong enough to take herself seriously, to demand respect to it or uttering a single word. And in that realization, I felt both shame and awe, a bitter recognition of our failures, and a reluctant admiration for the courage we had so casually lifted. She had left quietly, yes. But in doing so, she had spoken louder than any of us ever could, leaving behind a lesson etched into the walls of the apartment, into the spaces between us, and into the deepness of our own hearts. And as I finally closed my eyes, I knew that this silence is deliberate, fearless, unyielding silence would take forever. This is around 1500 words and builds a strong emotional connection, suspense, and introspection to fully engage the reader. If you want, I can also expand part 2 to match the same deep and suspense for the morning knock, making it perfect for a cliffhanger TikTok story. Do you want me to do that next? Absolutely. I take part 2 and expand it into a fully immersive, emotionally charged 1500 narrative with hooks, tension, and suspense that keeps readers or viewers engaged. Here is the extended version. The next morning, the sharp knock at the door shattered the fragile silence of the apartment. It was sudden, startling, impossible to ignore. My heart leaped, a cold jolt of adrenaline racing through my veins. I froze, staring at the hallway as the echo of that single knock reverberated through every corner. My husband groaned, turning over in bed, mumbling something about early disturbances, his voice thick with sleep and irritation. But I didn't move. My body had already shifted into a heightened awareness, every nerve taut, waiting for other who stood outside. I couldn't ignore it. Something about that knock carried you it couldn't explain. It wasn't casual. It wasn't accidental. There was a architect to it, a deliberate insistence that demanded attention. I stepped forward slowly, my bare feet silent against the cold floor, each movement measured, almost reverent. My hand hovered over the doorknob, hesitant, knowing that whatever lay on the other side could change everything. My husband grumbled again, pulling on a rope and rubbing his eyes. Probably a delivery or some neighbor problem, he muttered, clearly not grasping the gravity of the moment. But I sensed it in the deepness of my gut. This was not ordinary. This was her. She had returned. I opened the door slowly, heart pounding, mind racing with questions and fears. And there she was standing there, coat wrapped tightly around her, as if shielding herself from the cold outside, though it was a mild morning. Her hair fell in loose waves around her shoulders, as glinting with an intensity that made my chest tighten. She didn't smile. She didn't offer any greeting. Her presence alone was a declaration, a statement that needed no words. For a moment, we just stared at each other. Time seemed to stretch, the air thick with on-site emotions. I wanted to speak, to fill the silence with words that could undo the months of tension, the misunderstandings, the quiet resentments. But nothing came. She held herself with a calm authority, and I realized that any words from me would be unnecessary, even intrusive. Then she reached into her coat and pulled out a small, crumpled envelope. She held it out to me, not with aggression, not with hesitation, but with a deliberate steadiness. Her eyes locked onto mine, unyielding, and I felt the weight of every choice, every decision, every consequence pressed down on me. What's this? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. Open it, she said, finally breaking the silence. Her tone was calm, yet it carried an unspoken warning. I took the envelope with trembling hands, fingers brushing against hers for the briefest moment. It was enough to send a shiver down my spine, a reminder that she was both here and not here, present yet distant, near yet unreachable. Inside the envelope was a note, small, folded meticulously. I unfolded it slowly, each crease in the paper conking a mind like a warning bell. Written in her familiar, precise handwriting were the words, "You think silence is weakness. Watch closely." I froze. The message was simple, yet loaded with meaning. I turned to my husband, who now had fully risen, rubbing his eyes, confusion and curiosity making on each's face. It's from her, I said, my voice trembling. She's back, but it's not just that. He frowned, looking at the envelope, but I could see that even he didn't understand. Even he couldn't grasp the depth of what she had done. She didn't wait for a reaction. With her turned roared, she stepped past me, letting herself into the apartment as if she wanted tea, as if she had never truly left. Every movement was purposeful, every glance measured, and I felt a strong mix of fear and admiration. Fear, because I realized that her return was not casual. Admiration, because I could see the quiet strength that had carried her through her decision to leave in the first place. She placed the envelope on the kitchen counter and leaned against it lightly, as scanning the room. I noticed small changes. Her posture was straighter, her presence more commanding. There was an aura of authority around her now, something I hadn't noticed before, something that made the room seem smaller, more intimate, and yet charged with unspoken tension. You left yesterday, I said, my voice shaking slightly. And now, you're back. WHY. I tried to keep my tone steady, to mask the fear, the anticipation, the anxiety that twisted inside me. She looked at me, her eyes piercing, unwavering. Because, she said slowly, each word deliberately, living quietly doesn't mean giving up. And coming back doesn't mean submission. You underestimated me, and you need to understand what that looks like. Her words hit me like a cold wave. Every memory of yesterday, of her QWERTY hit, every smirk, every lie we had shared at her expense, replayed in my mind. I realized then that her silence, her calm, had been a message we were too blind to decode. And now, standing before us, she was showing us exactly what strength meant. I wanted to respond. I wanted to apologize. I wanted to tell her we understood now, that we had finally seen her, finally acknowledged her. But the words stuck heavy, unformed, incapable of expressing the gravity of what was happening. Instead, I simply watched her move through the apartment with quiet grace, each step measured, each gesture purposeful. She opened the windows, letting in the morning light, and for a brief moment, the apartment felt alive again, not because of us, but because of her presence. The light fell on her face, highlighting the resolve in her eyes, the subtle tension in her jaw, the quiet fire that burned beneath her calm exterior. I realized, with a mix of awe and fear, that she had returned not to reconcile or plead, but to assert herself, to remind us that her life, her choices, and her presence could not be diminished by ignorance or laughter. And my husband, still groggy and confused, finally spoke. You came back. Each's voice was uncertain, almost defensive, as if admitting her return was a threat to the fragile control he had assumed yesterday. Yes, she said simply, her gaze unwavering. I came back to show you that strength is not loud, and power is not always visible. You left yesterday. You thought silence was weakness. Watch closely, because now, you will see what it truly looks like. She paused, and the room felt silent again, heavier than before. I could feel the tension in every corner, in every shadow, in every breath. Her presence was magnetic, commanding, impossible to ignore. It isn't just that she had returned, it was that she had returned on her own terms, carrying a quiet authority that we had never anticipated, never respected. She moved to the living room and sat down on the edge of the sofa the way she had before, when laughter filled the space, but with a deliberate, calm composure. Her eyes met mine, searching, studying, as if weighing not just my understanding, but my capacity to see, to truly see her. I realized then that yesterday's departure had been her test. And now, standing here, she was showing us the consequences of underestimating her. Hours passed in quiet observation. She spoke a little, but her words, when they came, were precise, deliberate, and sharp. She questioned, she analyzed, she reminded us of moments we had ignored, decisions we had dismissed, feelings we had overlooked. And with every word, I felt the weight of our oversight, the depth of our misunderstanding, and the sheer magnitude of the strength we had failed to recognize. It became clear that her silence had never been weakness. It had been preparation. It had been strategy. It had been the quiet cultivation of a resolve so powerful that it now filled the room, leaving no space for arrogance, no room for dismissal. She had left to show us, and she had returned to teach us, to confront us with the truth we had avoided, to challenge our assumptions, to make us understand the gravity of underestimating someone capable of such deliberate power. By evening, the apartment felt transformed not by her mere presence, but by the lessons she carried with her. My husband said quietly, each earlier amusement replaced by a downed comprehension, a hesitant acknowledgement of the mistake we had made. I felt the weight of the morning settle deep in my chest, a combination of relief, fear, and admiration. And then, just as the sun began to dip below the horizon, she stood. Not with drama, not with anger, not with desperation. She stood with quiet authority, gathering her coat, picking up the envelope she had left on the counter. Her eyes met mine one last time, and in that look I saw everything strength, resolve, a reminder that power need not be allowed to be undeniable. She walked to the door, paused, and said softly, almost casually, "Remember this moment. Silence is not absence. Quiet is not weakness. Watch closely, you may learn, if you choose to see." And with that, she left. The door closed behind her, and the apartment was silent once more. But the silence was different. It was not emptiness. It was a lesson, a warning, a testament. We had watched, we had observed, and we had learned. The quiet knock, the envelope, the deliberate returnal of it was her way of teaching us what we had refused to see. And I realized, as the shadows grew long and the evening settled over the city, that her impulse stood remain long after the door had closed. She had returned not to stay, not to reconcile, but to remind us power can be quiet, strength can be invisible, and sometimes, the most formidable force is someone who acts with deliberate, unspoken authority. This expanded part 2 now delivers full emotional tension, suspense, and character depth across roughly 1500 words, matching the extended part 1 in intensity. It's perfect for storytelling or a dramatic TikTok, Instagram video with strong hooks. If you want, I can adapt both parts into a condensed script with cliffhangers and visual cues ready for a TikTok video under 3 minutes. Will make the story punchy and bring worth for words. Do you want me to do that next?